Why is project management so crucial in the field of architecture? It's a question that underpins the very essence of architectural projects. Project management is the invisible framework that supports and guides the creation of the visible, tangible structures we admire and inhabit. It's the art of orchestrating diverse teams, managing intricate processes, and navigating a sea of regulations, all while keeping an eye on the clock and the budget. Effective project management can mean the difference between the triumphant completion of a visually stunning, functional structure and a project that gets mired in delays, budget overruns, and dissatisfaction. It's about more than just the final structure. It's about the journey to get there. It's the project manager who ensures that journey is as smooth as possible, foreseeing and mitigating challenges, maximizing resources, and fostering a harmonious team environment. This video aims to provide emerging architecture professionals with a comprehensive understanding of project management responsibilities. Project managers juggle hundreds of responsibilities. Let's explore some of the most vital ones. At the heart of their role, project managers coordinate the activities of all members of the design and construction teams. They act as the central hub in the wheel of the project, keeping a keen eye on consultants, managing staff, and overseeing project designers. Picture this. An architectural firm is tasked with constructing a sustainable office building. The project manager not only ensures that the project designers are in sync with the client's vision, but also coordinates with environmental consultants to ensure the building adheres to sustainability regulations. Simultaneously, the project manager is the liaison between the firm principals and the project, ensuring that the principals are always in the loop. They also handle the complex task of coordinating with regulatory agencies. In our case study, this might mean ensuring that all building codes are met and that the project complies with sustainability laws. Finally, the project manager has the critical responsibility of coordinating with the contractor. They ensure that the design vision is translated accurately into the built environment. In the case of our sustainable office building, the project manager would work closely with the contractor to ensure that the green design elements are implemented correctly. While this list is not exhaustive, it provides a glimpse into the demanding role of a project manager in architecture. Assembling the right project team is an art, and one that is essential to project success. The project team comes in two flavors. The first is the overarching team, comprising all organizations and individuals involved in the project. As an architect, you're just one piece of this puzzle. The second team is the one you, as the architect, put together from within and outside your firm. Let's take an example. Imagine you're working on a large, complex museum project. You'll need a team with experience in museum design, perhaps even a specialist in exhibit design. You'll need to consider the size and complexity of the project, staff availability, experience levels, billing rates, and let's not forget personalities. You're not just building a building, you're building a team that can work together, solve problems, and bring the vision to life. A well-assembled team can make the difference between a successful project and a failed one. Time is money, and in architecture, effective scheduling can save both. Now, let's delve into the art of scheduling a project. In the AEC industry, there are two common methods used for scheduling: the bar chart or Gantt chart and the critical path method, also known as CPM. What are these, you ask? Well, a Gantt chart is a visual representation of your project schedule, showing the start and finish dates of the project's components. On the other hand, the critical path method is a more detailed approach that identifies the most crucial tasks that could impact the project's timeline if delayed. Now let's break down some key terms. Tasks are the smallest unit of work required to complete a project. Dependencies are relationships between tasks, where one task relies on the completion of another. Dummies in project management are placeholder activities. They show dependencies but have no duration. Next up, we have the critical path. This is the sequence of tasks that must be completed on time for the project to finish on the due date. Any delay in these tasks will delay the project. And finally, we have float. Float or slack is the amount of time that you can delay a task without it causing a delay to other tasks or the project completion. To illustrate these concepts, imagine you're designing a new office building. The tasks might include drafting the blueprint, obtaining permits, and coordinating with contractors. Each task has its dependencies and must be carefully scheduled to ensure a smooth workflow. Effective scheduling is a cornerstone of successful project management. It's a complex jigsaw puzzle, but with the right approach, it becomes an exciting challenge. A work plan is a project's blueprint. It's where the project's journey begins. This detailed project schedule breaks down the project into its component tasks, assigning staff members and other resources to each task. It's one of the earliest and most crucial tasks that a project manager must complete. In some circles, you may hear a work plan referred to as a fee projection. A well-crafted work plan is an orchestra of several elements. It includes the scope of services in the agreement, a breakdown of the services into phases and individual tasks, and the milestones that mark significant points in the project timeline. It identifies the staff needed to do the work and allocates time and fees to phases and individual tasks. It outlines what work will be done by consultants and what fees and other costs will be associated with the consultant's work. Now let's imagine you're tasked with creating the work plan for a new museum. You start by defining the scope of services agreed upon with the client. This might include architectural design, project management, and coordination with contractors. You then break down these services into phases and individual tasks. For instance, the architectural design phase might include tasks like conceptual design, schematic design, and construction documentation. Next, you identify the staff needed for each task. Perhaps you'll need a senior architect for the conceptual design, a junior architect for the schematic design, and a drafter for the construction documentation. You allocate time and fees to each task, taking into account the staff's billing rates and the complexity of the task. You also determine what work will be done by consultants. Maybe you'll need a structural engineer for the schematic design phase and a landscape architect for the site planning. You factor in the fees and other costs associated with their work. The primary element of a work plan is the schedule, often represented as a Gantt chart. This visual tool helps you identify dependencies and track progress. The level of detail in your work plan is dependent on the complexity of the project. A comprehensive work plan sets the stage for a well-executed project. Money talks, but how do we decide what it says? In architecture project management, assigning fees can be approached from two different angles, the top-down and the bottom-up approaches. Imagine you're working on a new city park project. Using the top-down approach, you'd start with the total budget for the project and allocate portions of it to the different project phases and tasks. This method provides a broad overview and is typically used in the early stages of a project. Now, let's flip things upside down. The bottom-up approach involves estimating the cost of each individual task, then adding them all up to get the total project cost. This approach is usually more accurate and is often used later in the project when more information is available. In practice, both approaches are typically used in varying degrees and compared to ensure the project is financially viable and profitable. Understanding how to assign fees is an integral part of project management. Monitoring the project is like taking the project's pulse. It keeps us informed of its health. As project managers, we need to keep a keen eye on employees' timesheets on a weekly basis. These timesheets should then be compared to the time and hours that were initially budgeted for the project. This comparison allows us to see if we're on track or if adjustments need to be made. Now let's talk about some tools that can aid in this process. The first is a project monitoring chart. This chart is a visual representation of the project's progress, showing the planned versus actual time and costs. Another useful tool is a full wall schedule. This is a large-scale visual timeline that outlines every task and milestone in the project. It provides a bird's-eye view of the project's status, making it easier to spot potential issues. For instance, in the case of the Harbour Tower project, the team employed both these techniques to closely monitor progress. Effective monitoring keeps a project on track and helps identify potential issues before they become problems. Let's recap what we've learned about project management in architecture. We started by understanding the myriad responsibilities of a project manager, from coordinating the activities of design and construction teams to ensuring regulatory compliance. We then moved on to the assembly of project teams, considering factors such as project complexity, team size, and staff experience. We delved into project scheduling, discussing the Gantt chart and the critical path method as key tools for organizing tasks and dependencies. We learned that a detailed work plan, or fee projection, is crucial in breaking down the project into manageable tasks and allocating resources effectively. We explored the top-down and bottom-up approaches to assigning fees and the importance of comparing these for accuracy. Finally, we highlighted the necessity of monitoring the project, from keeping a close eye on timesheets to utilizing a full wall schedule. With a solid understanding of project management responsibilities, emerging architecture professionals can confidently tackle the Division 2 project management test of the architecture registration exam.